All right, we did it with the time zones. I was so scared as I was traveling that I was going to mess up. Nice to see you, David, and thank you for your interest. And we're a big fan of Limmud, and can't believe it's coming up already.
Tell me, have you been to Australia at any time?
I've been there 3 times. Once a long time ago, but in the last 5 years, I've been there twice. And I have a pretty good sense of the community and the energy market. Yeah, and we have investors in Australia, so like angel impact investors.
Yes, well, we might persuade a few people when we're talking today to come on as investors. Let's see how we go. Now, I'm speaking with Yosef Abramowitz, who was nominated for the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize by 12 African countries, and actually Belize as well. But unfortunately, they omitted that for some reason on the Limmud 2021 website. So we need to make a correction there. Yosef, you're one of Israel's pioneers in solar energy and in East Africa. You're an activist, an educator, a self-proclaimed troublemaker who sees portable green power as a fundamental human right. And since 2011, you have been the CEO of Energia Global, an impact investment platform for renewables. And you were named by CNN as one of the world's top 6 green pioneers. Now, what a record. You're known, you can be followed as Captain Sunshine.
With a K.
With a K, yes. And some other organizations have adopted that name as well. I think one company in Japan that sells a line of clothing. But that's not really relevant to what you're on about. Now, you're going to be presenting at a session on the topic Jews and the Climate Crisis, a conversation with Israel's solar pioneer. So give us a hint of what you're going to be talking about.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. Really excited to be part of Limmud down there. And I'm a big fan of the community and especially of Limmud. I mean, there's a lot of renewable energy of the community through Limmud and the kind of educational offerings and the people who participate. And I'm sorry, because of COVID, I can't be there personally, but I hope to come back shortly. Look, the Jewish people are a global people that strives to be ethical, a people with purpose. And the biggest ethical and physical, I think, challenge to humanity today is the climate crisis. And surely I would hope that our tradition and our values have something to say. And more importantly, we, the Jewish people, we have some things we need to do. We have our sabbatical year coming up this Rosh Hashanah. And it is a good spiritual point from us to change our behaviors, to exercise leadership as a people. And also, depending on how the news goes with Israel, because it's touch and go in terms of the new government and who the various ministers are, but we also are working very, very hard to have the Jewish state as a public face of our values and the Jewish people to also be on the right side of history.
Now, with your presentation at the Limmud, you're going to have a moderator which will channel your talk in a definite direction. I should mention that's Joel Lazar, who's the CEO of Jewish Climate Change. Now, sometimes the term moderator can be interpreted to mean somebody who's going to control what you say, but I think he won't be doing any of that. I think he'll be giving you free rein to say whatever you like, Yosef.
Well, who is wise asks our ethics of our fathers. It's one who can learn from everybody. So I look forward from learning from him and from the questions during Limmud.
You're going to give us a real taste of what the role of Jewish people is in fighting the climate crisis, and analyze how Israel can inspire the Biden-Harris administration to shoot for 100% clean energy by 2035. That's what you're going to be talking about. And I
Yeah.
think you're going to give us a little bit of a story as well about what you've done and not just what you're going to hopefully be doing.
Yeah, well, you're catching me first of all in Washington. I was in the White House today with their climate and Africa people. So we're doing our best to synchronize the fact that the United States has returned to a climate leadership position. Behooves all of us to be able to up the ante on our renewable goals and our carbon footprint. Look, one of the unfortunate realities of the prosperity of the Jewish people in most countries, including down under, is that we have a carbon footprint that is outsized as both individuals, families, and communities. And so, what that means is that we're part of the problem and not yet enough part of the solution. And so, I look forward to challenging the Jewish community in Australia as well as worldwide with new and updated goals that will match really what I believe our obligation is as since the time of Eden, we're the Avda v'Shamra, we're commanded to work the land, but also to preserve it. And we are doing more harm than good, and we hope to be able to turn the Jewish people into a force for amazing climate good in Australia, Israel, and worldwide.
And I think you'll also be giving us a little bit of a hint of what's shaping up for this massive UN climate conference in November.
Yeah. So look, according to the UN, every country essentially will need to re-examine its climate goals, its emission goals, and essentially double it. That is a major undertaking, and again, the European Union and now the United States have stepped up with those kinds of goals. I do want to say Australia is a mixed bag. You are the world leaders when it comes to rooftop solar. You're I think approaching soon 25%, and we salute that. Keep going. But when it comes to a percentage of your energy, and to use renewables as a force for social and economic development in your northern territories, there's more work to be done. And I hope our conversation at Limmud will also spark more local action in Australia to bring the climate crisis and the solutions into the mainstream of the Jewish community. I'll give you one example that will be incredibly unpopular. You ready for this? So part of what we've learned with COVID is that we can probably all do with a little bit less, right? Less travel, less consumerism. One of the things we need to do a lot less of is eating red meat. The red meat industry around it produces so much methane. It's actually more than even like all the trucks and cars in the world. And while when there's a simcha, you kind of want to have the best foods, the richest foods, and all of that. But from a carbon perspective, I'm almost tempted to use the word Chilul Hashem, a desecration of God's name. We're not there yet because we got to give people fair warning, and people need to get educated about the effect of red meat. But reducing or eliminating red meat during this upcoming year, sabbatical year, would be a revolutionary move that maybe other communities of faith worldwide would emulate. And that could have an incredible impact globally. So just a hint of what you'll taste at my Limmud
Yes, I
session.
think certain people who have been told by medicos and other health practitioners that red meat is vital for their diet when their iron levels plummet will probably take what you're saying with a certain amount of skepticism. The trouble is that you have two conflicting situations here. You have your own personal environment and you have the environment of the world, and they're competing with each other all the time.
Well, yeah. Well, look, if there's you can eat on Yom Kippur if you're not feeling well. So if there's a valid medical reason and there's no alternative, I think there's plenty of alternatives today. Then who am I to preach, right? Look, on the one hand, we have our own individual carbon footprints, we have our communal carbon footprints, and then we're part of this larger civilization. And that seems so big, but leadership first starts at home. It's an internal moral decision to be taking. So we got to start there. But we are also citizens of each of our respective countries. And we need to make this a matter of, it's really national security or international security to be able to increase the pace of renewables and to lower our emissions. There's really no choice, because otherwise, if we don't do this, then we're just cursing our children and our grandchildren to be in a world where there's so many more pandemics, where there's so many more tragedies and supercharged typhoons and bone dry biblical droughts that just wipe out livelihoods for hundreds of millions of people. And so if that's the alternative, and 98% of scientists say that's where we're going, and we could already see the signs of it, then I think we as individuals, as communities, and as societies need a major shift. So look out, Limmud, Australia, because here we come.
We're coming. The steamroller's on its way.
The electric powered steamroller. Wait a second, we're not burning coal for that.
So at the very beginning, I mentioned that you've been nominated for the 2021. You were nominated for the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize by 12 African countries. You didn't win it, but you just tell us why these countries were so strongly supporting you. Why were they out after giving you this backing?
Look, first of all, it's a great honor, but and more importantly, it's a heavy responsibility, right? That these countries actually look to. I think me being somewhat of a representative of the Jewish people and the state of Israel for a kind of climate hope. The Peace Prize will be announced the 9th or 10th of October, and I hope that Greta Thunberg gets it, because wow. I mean, look, in the best case scenario, they give it to Greta because she's really called out the issue and put it on the agenda in a way that we haven't seen before. But maybe they want to marry it with climate solutions. And, the first region in the world to reach 100% daytime solar is Eilat and the Arava, from the Red Sea to the Dead Sea. And so I'm proud to be associated with that landmark accomplishment. And then to bring utility scale, to be the first to bring utility scale to sub-Saharan Africa, also comes with responsibility, because now we're trying to scale this in 10 different countries throughout Africa. It is an incredible honor that these countries believe in us, but it means that we cannot fail them. What's great is that it's not a charity; it's a business model for Tikkun Olam, right? For healing the world, and we've proved the business model in Israel, and we're now rolling it out in Africa. And I'm actually really proud that there's a good number of investors from Australia who are part of our solar mishpacha.
Maybe I should talk to you after this interview. I want to ask you. You call yourself an activist, and I want to point out that you're not just a climate activist, although that's is certainly very strong. You've also been arrested twice for other forms of activism, and you also put yourself forward as a candidate for the president of Israel. Unfortunately, you didn't make it this time, because we've just seen Isaac Herzog being
correction. The environmental movement, particularly the Strike for Climate, the Greta group in Israel, nominated me for the presidency, really as a green candidate. And Buzzy Herzog is a friend, and he's great, and he promised me that he would be a green president, and he's going to meet with me, and I'm going to bring in the Strike for Climate Greta group in Israel with me when we meet. But we're going to make the president's house green, and we're going to make sure that he champions a really good climate law. We also want to stop additional oil and gas pipelines, particularly from the Emirates, coming in, but I was on the edge of my seat throughout the day because I know what it's like. I had to get 10 signatures by midnight 2 weeks ago. We were up to 7, and Ra'am was interested in giving us their 4 seats, take us over the top to be an official candidate for the vote that happened just now. And it was when the riots were happening and when the missiles were falling, and they said, look, if it wasn't for the missiles falling, we'd be doing this, but it was just too hard. Thankfully, the ceasefire is holding. And this will be a very if the proposed government that's been announced is going to actually be voted in and will hold, this will be the most climate friendly Israeli government in the history of the Jewish state, and we look forward to working with them. But my candidacy was one to really elevate the issue. But hey, talk to me in 7 years. Let's see what's going on there.
Well, I'd like to talk to you again before 7 years is up.
Good deal.
This is just a little short interview we're doing today, just remotely, Limmud Oz. But maybe in the future we could do a separate dedicated interview where I could talk to you about your extraordinary contributions to the betterment of the world, Yosef.
Thank you very much. Look, I have a lot of friends and mentors in Australia, also from student days. Lawrence Jackson is there. Shelley Einfeld, I think they're involved in Limmud, and many others. So before I start naming names and forgetting people, I want to say that the community there, the Liebler family, we go way back, has been a source of inspiration. And again, the investors today who believe in what we're doing, as business for a model for Tikkun Olam. So I'll happily come back both virtually and physically, and look forward to being part of Limmud Australia.
And as you say, Yosef, shine on.
Shine on. All right.